Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwadner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the great pleasure of meeting with Mark Boundy. He is a Selling Power leading consultant, but also a best-selling author. Welcome, Mark.
Gerhard, it's great to be here and thanks for the great honor.
You mentioned something to me earlier where you have an affinity for World War II and warplanes, and you found an interesting analogy between the resistance of a plane and the effectiveness of a salesperson. Tell us about it.
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with World War II and the weapons and how they were brought into service and improved. And I'm a sucker for a great World War II story. And I was reminded of one that really is a parallel to what we're doing as corporate leaders, as sales leaders today. You see, beginning of World War II, the Allied bombers were being shot down over Europe at an alarming rate. The most dangerous thing you could do was be a bomber in a bomber crew. So what they wanted to do is to try to make the bombers a little bit more survivable, to strategically add armor to places that would make the plane more survivable. So to begin that task, they did something like this, which is just tracking the battle damage on an airplane, mostly bullet holes, but of course some flak shrapnel holes. Using these kind of data and these kind of frequency of getting hit spots, they started designing armor for the wingtips and for the midships and so forth, until a wise man said, time out, we're emphasizing the wrong behaviors, we're putting emphasis on the wrong things because we're looking at the situation incorrectly. What he found, what he observed was all of this battle damage was tracked off of the airplanes that made it safely back to base. The planes that didn't make it safely back to base probably had lots of bullet holes in the cockpit, in the engines. And once you see that, it's an aha moment. But we're making the same mistake. And let me tell you what I mean. In 2011, there were 150,000 sales and marketing automation platforms. So technology to automate something in either sales or marketing. That has grown until last year, 2019, or 2020, excuse me, there's 8,000 of those. 600 of them are CRM systems, but there's all kinds of automation. So there has never been a more technologically advanced time to lead a sales organization. And how are our bomber crews doing? 2006, before this automation really got going, 17% of the time, no decision was winning opportunities. That is, customers decided not to buy from AU or any of your competitors 17% of the time. By the time we had reached all that automation, no decision has gotten to 38% of time. It's more than doubled. I discovered early in my career that the sellers who sold to customer outcomes, to customer value, are the ones that are making all the high performer lists, making president's list. In your Salesforce now, you have some people selling to elite customer value. And I wanted to bring those behaviors to everybody.
Tell us a little bit more about how to identify the value and how to frame that value in a way that the customer truly understands it.
Truly elite value-focused sellers, truly elite value-focused companies really understand the customer's world and everything that the customer wants to accomplish, fix, or avoid. Whether or not you think your product or solution can solve for that is of secondary importance. It's understanding everything the customer wants to accomplish. I call those value gaps. Value because they're outcomes that you want, and gaps because you're not achieving them. The other thing that great companies do is understand all the ways my product or service can be of service, can add value to my customer. So we're not selling our stuff to a customer, we're growing a customer's business using our stuff. So we convert our capabilities, our features, our benefits, our differentiation into the language of a customer outcome. When we can talk to the customer about an outcome that can be achieved, now the customer understands this is one of my outcomes that I want to achieve. And that is the win-win value zone. So much of our product training, so much of our marketing content is about our features, our benefits, our stuff. And we're forcing the customer to translate that into their outcomes. And that's a sure path to failure.
Mark, can you help me understand what is the process that salespeople need to follow to focus on that win-win value zone?
There's a couple different processes. One is the process of understanding your customer and your customer's world. The other part is in our product training. So many times our product training is about features, benefits, specs, performance criteria, and maybe competitive comparison, but competitive comparison in features and benefits. We don't do product training. We don't do product marketing. We don't do lead generation in the language of customer outcomes. This is something that happens a lot more in business to consumer than it does in B2B. And now B2B buyers are expecting to be communicated to in the language of outcomes. They want you to spell it out for them in the language of outcomes.
Walk us through the process.
First of all, when you're talking to an account and you're trying to grow from one business unit to another, or you're landing and expanding, I ask, where are you having regular conversations? At the comfort level, that is the people who buy and use who use your product or service on a day-to-day basis? Or do you have regular conversations with the person who had budgetary signature level authority to buy your product? That's not just one conversation around closing time, that's regular conversations. Or do you have regular, they might be less frequent, but regular conversations with an executive above that signature level? The kind of conversations and who you're having conversations with about is an important aspect to understanding how deep your relationship. And the way you get there is by understanding your value. Are you simply transactional? Do you meet a spec? Do you have some recognized differentiated value? Or do you actually, as the story of the HR tech solution had, are you actually selling something that has business impact over and above what that manager or that budgetary level had originally envisioned? It turns out that several of these are impossible. If you have transactional value, you can't sell to the budget owner or the executive because they just won't care. If you have that differentiated value, you will get to the budget owner, but you probably won't get to the executive. If you're adding business value, you deserve to be able to talk and have those executives. So now when I'm trying to grow from one business unit to another, when I'm trying to expand the business and get my SaaS solution from the bare bones or the basic solution to a bigger, more feature rich one, I want to be able to figure out where I was talking and which of the boxes I was covering in the first one, because if I was selling only at a transactional level, this second group is almost a brand new sale because these people don't talk to, know, or have credibility with each other. Budget owners at the director level typically will know each other, probably won't be the same ones unless it's an upsell, but they will probably have a relationship with each other. And so you're from one business unit to the next business unit strategy is basically an introduction strategy. Oftentimes, if you've gotten to the executive level, they certainly know each other. Sometimes it's the same person. And so that introduction, when you've achieved that business value, business differentiation, now you're able to get to those introductions very easily. So make sure you understand your value and who you're talking to, and that shapes how you expand from one piece of business to the next within the same customer.
So Mark, tell us a little bit about your book, Radical Value.
Radical value, a lot of people tell me, Mark, that's not radical. That's just going back to basics, understanding your value. And that's true, but I've seen that 98% of sellers don't do this. So it's a radical back to basics approach of the desire, the mindset to truly understand your customer, their business, their aspirations, the mindset to not just accept your features and benefits training on its face, but to turn that into the outcomes that your customer can expect to achieve because of those features, because of those benefits, because of those capabilities. So understanding that is kind of a radical departure. It happens to be something that some of your best sellers are already doing. But then once you do that, you have insights into your customer's world that your competitors don't have. And that can shape how you market. That can shape your product development. That can especially shape how you price to value. When you sell with high value, you have pricing power that your competitors don't have, and you can actually sell at a higher price with higher customer preference when you have established value.
So your time is very valuable. How can people engage with you in the most effective way?
Have them reach out to me at mark@boundyconsulting.com. Go ahead and look for the book on Amazon or your favorite bookseller. I'm happy to spend some time trying to learn about your business and your aspirations to see if there's something I can do to help.